Welcome back to Recreational Garage. Since the last video, I got the bars we were working on tack welded in. So real quick to start out, we're gonna check out some suspension movement here. So we can go up, way up with no binding, which is super cool. It is way tucked up in there. And we can go way down, which will actually give you a nice shot of the work we did here. And watching those arms, we're getting no binding at all. It is looking good. And we have a ton of movement with no suspension binding. I am super happy with how this turned out. So we've got a lot of stuff to figure out still, a bunch of welding to do on this. So I'm going to mock up for the coilovers so I can measure what size I need for those, and then remove that whole upper torque box and fully weld it all together, add some bracing and things like that, probably some gussets, but everything's tack welded in place. So we'll get going on that. With all the welding that has happened this week, this may be a shorter video, we will see. Anyway, let's get to it and see what we can get done. All right, made some really good progress this week. Got these lower control arm brackets fully welded on the axle, as well as removed the factory brackets from the axle. I did get some welding done on the lower control arm mounts on the body on the car. Then we spent a bunch of time on the upper control arm mounts for the car side. I did get the bars fully welded all on. They're welded to these end plates. These plates are here. I got this backing plate on. I still need to fill the tops and bottoms to tie it all in and make it stronger. I did get these doublers all TIG welded on last night. Starting to get a little bit of a handle on that. So that's pretty good. Anyway, making great progress. Hopefully we'll get this installed next week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.